Hey, everybody, welcome back to Healthy, Wealthy, and Smart. I am your host, Karen Litzy, owner of Karen Litzy Physical Therapy, located in New York City. And today I'm really excited to talk to an amazing physician and entrepreneur. So we'll get into the whole entrepreneurial side of it, because as I said before we went on air, you went to medical school, probably didn't have a lot of business courses. Like in physical therapy school, we didn't have a lot of business courses either. So I want to welcome to the podcast Dr. Robert Kayal. He is the founder, president, CEO, and chairman of New York and New Jersey's Kayal Orthopedic Center. He considers it an honor and a blessing and a privilege to help restore an active and joyful quality of life to each of his patients. He gives all his thanks to God for his talents and skills and prays his practice will always be used to honor and glorify God. So, Dr. Kayal, welcome to the podcast. Happy to have you on and excited to talk a little business today with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Karen. I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Now, before we get into the meat of the interview, I would love for you to tell the listeners a little bit more about you. Like, why did you decide to become a doctor? And then why did you decide to start your own practice and your own businesses? I will say plural.
Great. Yeah. So hello, everyone, again. I'm very privileged to be here. If you speak to my mom, she'll tell you that I've only always wanted to be a physician. I never wanted to be anything else in life other than a doctor. And I don't remember dating back that far, but my mom swears by it. And I guess it's because I just love fixing things in general. I chose the field of orthopedic surgery because it's a very, very rewarding field, a very rewarding specialty. I love solving problems. I love solving arguments, mediating things. And I just don't like problems in general. I sort of just like to fix them. And so knowing that I've always loved working with my hands as well, being an orthopedic surgeon was a great option for me because it gave me the opportunity to work with people. I love people, and it allows me to fix things very quickly and enjoy instant gratification. So it's a great specialty for me. I couldn't love the field more than I do. I grew up in northern New Jersey. I spent my life in northern New Jersey for the most part. I call it growing up in a bubble. I haven't really left this bubble much at all. I love northern New Jersey. I love the tri-state area. And after graduating from Penn State University with a Bachelor of Science in Pre-Medicine, I immediately went to New Jersey Medical School, got my doctorate degree, and immediately got accepted into the field of orthopedic surgery in New York. I did my training there and electively chose to come back to the suburbs of northern New Jersey, and I've been in practice ever since 1999. It's just a great. It's been a great run for me. It's been a privilege to come back to northern New Jersey, where I grew up, and take care of the patients in that area. Some of which were my fellow classmates, my teachers, and it's just been a great experience overall.
Yeah, that's great. And you went to Penn State. My sister went to Penn State. My family, they're big Penn Staters. My niece is 15. And I said, where do you want to go to college? Penn State. That's
Yeah.
it. There's nowhere else. So
Strong spirit for sure. Penn State
yeah.
University. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a huge alumni following. They still go
Sure.
to games. Do you ever go out to games, to football games?
Haven't been able to fit that into my busy schedule, but it's
Yeah.
something I definitely need to do for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's wild, right?
it sure
Um,
is.
okay, so grew up in New Jersey, Penn State, New York for residency. Now you're back in New Jersey, northern New Jersey. And what made you decide to open your own practice? Because you could have I'm sure, easily got been in a hospital, worked in a hospital, and had a long career. So what made you say, I think I kind of want to do my own thing. I want to open up my own practice.
Yeah, there were so many things about choosing the field of medicine in general that led me to opening up my own practice in 1999. some of the reasons I chose to be a physician in general, I talk about in my book. Number one, I just think, one of the reasons we choose is because of the power, having power as a physician, being in charge, the quarterback of the patient care, being able to make decisions, and sort of being the guy in charge is something that I always felt I wanted to do. I didn't really want to have to answer to anyone in business or in medicine. And so I just wanted my own business. It gave me the opportunity to have a small business. Certainly being a physician has always had a reputation of being a prestigious occupation as well. And that was something that was important to me when I decided on what career path to pursue. Uh, Also being autonomous. I always wanted to be autonomous and have the ability to make my own decisions. And again, not have to really report to anyone. The reward of being a physician was tremendous as well. Instant gratification, especially in the field of orthopedics, but also having the privilege to care for people and to help them get better and get them through the most difficult times in their lives is something that just is extremely rewarding specialty. Obviously, the income as well is something that was appealing to me, where I knew I was a family man. I wanted to be able to provide for my wife, my children, my family, and not really struggle in life. So these are all the things that led me to want to become a physician and also a small business owner as well. So that's what ultimately led me to want to have my own practice as opposed to being an employed physician where I sort of had to answer to people. I just wanted the opportunity to have my own small business as well, because a lot of people don't like to consider medicine, the field of medicine or any healthcare related field like yours, like physical therapy, a business. But truly, it is a business, and we do want to succeed in business in order to succeed in whatever field of healthcare or medicine we opted to go into. Because if we fail in medicine, if we fail in business, then our dreams and aspirations of being a healthcare provider may fail as well. So for me, it was a decision to become not only a physician and specifically an orthopedic surgeon, but also a businessman as well. And I had to succeed in both in order to achieve my goals.
Yeah, because you can't help more people if you can't keep your doors open,
Exactly. That's exactly
right?
right.
And so when you think about the mission of most healthcare practices is to help their communities and to be part of the community and to help people in that community live better, right? So
Absolutely.
if your business fails, then you can't be there for your community either. And not to put more pressure onto healthcare professionals, but I think that's a good kind of pressure, don't you think?
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and it has to be considered seriously. The business of medicine is something that we have to succeed in. That too many businesses in general fail. Too many startups, too many small businesses fail, and medicine is not immune to that for sure.
Yeah. And what have you learned? So 1999, right? So that's a good chunk of time that you've been in business. So what are some, let's say, missed opportunities? We won't call them failures. We'll say, what missed opportunities have you had that you've learned from that maybe you've passed on to your fellow physicians in practice?
Well, again, I feel incredibly blessed to be where I am in my position in life. I thank God that, and I don't want to take credit for it, but for the most part, I've been blessed by making great decisions in life in medicine. I don't know really how, but most, if not all of the decisions I made have really turned to gold as far as turning this into a very successful business. The mistakes I've made, I would say, are personal mistakes. I grew up, got married, had 6 children, and now I find it a lot easier to spend quality time with my younger children. My older children, unfortunately, were probably somewhat neglected as I I focused a lot of time on working hard, taking call, working very late hours, weekends. And the mistake I made probably was to make some personal sacrifices
Mm-hmm.
uh, that I don't make now because maybe it's because I'm in a different state financially with the practice and the success of the organization. But I think my older three children, I have six children, my older three children maybe paid the price a little bit. I don't know if they feel
Mm-hmm.
that way, but I certainly am able to make a lot more of the games and extracurricular activities now as opposed to when they were young. Some of the older kids were younger, and it's um, it's just, I guess it's part of life. It's just you can't have it all. I try to balance myself as much as I can and try to make as many of the events as possible. But that would be one of the biggest regrets. As far as from a business perspective, um, I've been blessed. Let's put it that way. It's just that every move has really been a good one. Thank God.
That's pretty amazing. And it's interesting that as you talk about your children, because oftentimes a lot of conversations about that balance of owning your business, spending time with your children is always focused on the moms,
Yeah.
right? So like female business owners and you know, it's like expected that the mom will be at all of the things, and when there's not, there's a lot of guilt. But at the same time, I'm sure there's also those expectations that the dad should really be at all these things as well, and that there's guilt on that side of the on that side as well. And I think that we don't talk about that enough. What advice would you give to dads who feel like they're missing out on those things, or that they have to, like you said, kind of take the call, put in the time, and maybe sacrifice your time with your children?
Yeah. It's a tough one. I mean, we all want to provide for our families. We want to provide for our children, our spouses, and it's just a balance. For me, it's always been about getting up early and going to bed late and making my list and staying organized. I'm a very structured individual. I make things to do lists. I live by my things to do lists. I every day I write down a list of things that I have to achieve, and I make boxes next to them, and I make sure to check them off. And I schedule and make time for everything that needs to be done, including taking my son to practice or taking
Mm-hmm.
golf lessons or whatever it may be. But if I don't list them and stay organized and structured and set alarms and reminders, it's very difficult to get all these things accomplished. But the thing is, if they're priorities to you, I think you just have to list them and somehow
Mm-hmm.
fit them into your schedule. And if it means getting up very early before they get up or going to bed late and doing things afterwards, to me, it's just part of uh, fulfilling my purpose in life. It's not only to be a provider, but I have to be a husband, I have to be a father, I have
Mm-hmm.
to be a doctor, there's so many roles and responsibilities that I find I consider to be very important as part of my stewardship, that I just felt very strongly that in order to achieve them, you have to plan. It just doesn't happen. You have to plan it and build it into your schedule.
Yeah, I think that's great advice because, boy, if it's not on the schedule, it doesn't get done,
That's right.
right? I
Right.
live by my schedule. And if I don't put something on there, it doesn't happen. It just
That's right.
doesn't.
I know. I'm with you.
So I think that's great advice for all the dads out there who also want to make all those games and be
Right.
part of even just the little things. Like you said, even if it's scheduling in like drive son to whatever XYZ practice, right?
That's
I
right.
think that's some really great advice. So thank you for that. And thank you for bringing up that topic because I don't think it's discussed enough.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so let's get into a little bit more of the business side of things off the personal side. And let's talk about what the 7 C's are. And when I say C, it's ABC, the letter C, not I see or ocean see. So
Right.
go ahead. I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so I think in order to be a successful physician and to actually be a physician in general, to decide to go into the field, I think it sort of comes with a certain type of character. Um, and, I call them the seven C's in my books because I think it's important to reflect on yourself. If you're deciding to go into healthcare in general, it doesn't need to be the field of medicine, but it could be any field of healthcare. And I think that the seven C's are important attributes that one should possess if they're going to go into the field of healthcare to care for patients. And the first is what I call character, just to reflect on your own character. What type of character and integrity do people say you possess? Are you honest? Are you trustworthy? Are you respectful? Are you kind? It's something that you have to possess a certain type of character in order to go into the field of medicine and healthcare. How is your conduct? They say that actions speak louder than words, obviously. And how would people interpret your conduct to be? Are you kind? Are you generous? Are you thoughtful? Do you hold the door open for people? Are you rude or disrespectful? What kind of conversation do you have with people? Are you a good listener or are you just a talker? When you're in healthcare, you really need to listen more than you speak. They always teach us in medical school that 90% of our diagnoses can be made just by listening to patients. So are you the type of person that often cuts people off and jumps to conclusions as opposed to just listening to patients and maybe forming a differential diagnosis and getting all the information because they certainly know their bodies better than we do? Are you compassionate? Do you have a servant's heart? Do you love people? You have to have a lot of these characteristics and attributes in order to go into healthcare. You have to go into healthcare for the right reasons, and every profession, obviously, but especially healthcare, because if you're in it for just the money or some of the other things we talked about, the power, the prestige, you're going into it for the wrong reasons because you can't just have those reasons. It's okay to find those important, but the thing is, it's really about dealing with people, loving people, being empathetic, having a servant's heart, really caring for people, and really also being conscientious as well. In order to be in medicine, you basically have to really be very, very thorough. We can't miss things. There's no room for error in medicine. So when I say being conscientious, I mean, seeing patients regularly when you're their healthcare provider to make sure that you didn't miss something the first time, ordering studies, ordering labs to make sure that you have all the information that's possible and helping you make the diagnosis. We're only human, so we need other ancillary tests or imaging studies or blood work or something to help us make the diagnosis. And often that can be just seeing the patient back regularly and listening to them again, not months later or even weeks later, but just, a week or two later, just to see how they're doing with whatever you did the last visit. If somebody has a shoulder problem, and you're not really sure if the pain is coming from the shoulder or the neck, and we might opt to give them an injection in the shoulder. But if we don't see them back for a few weeks, we're not going to know how they responded to that injection. So we like to give people, for instance, an injection or a medication, and then seeing them back to make sure they're getting better. Because if they don't get better, odds are we missed the diagnosis and it might be something else causing the pain. So for me, it's always about seeing the patient regularly, having many opportunities to interact with our patients, having more opportunities to listen to them to make sure we're not missing anything, and also going over studies and blood work and imaging, and also assessing the response to treatment, whether it be an injection or physical therapy or just an anti-inflammatory medicine, because we want to make sure we're helping the patient and making them better, because the last thing in the world is we don't want to miss, God forbid, a tumor of some sort, or
Right.
misdiagnose our patients. So it's just about being committed to our profession, to our patients, being thorough, but also having the attributes and what I like to call the fruits of the spirit. Because if you have um, the fruits of the spirit that are described in the Bible, love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I think if you have those attributes, it just makes you um, what I like to describe as a Christ-like person who is the great physician. So I just think that those are beautiful attributes to possess and be in healthcare. And it's nice to get bonused with the power and the prestige and the income, but it's really about taking care of people and then loving people.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I think that all of those attributes, all of those C's, not only do they make you a really great healthcare provider and a great physician, but they also, I think, can make you a better business person, right? So
So
so when people talk about successful businesses, one of the main things that most successful businesses have in common is a great customer experience, great customer service, if you will. Oftentimes in healthcare, we kind of forget about that. Like I think a lot of businesses make it a point to prioritize that. And in healthcare, I don't, maybe with some people it just comes naturally. But what are your thoughts on kind of customer service and the customer experience as it relates to a healthcare business?
yeah, I don't think it's more important in any other field to have that customer service. I think patients these days, or people these days, rate everything. Restaurants, movie theaters, movies, Broadway plays, you name it. But certainly healthcare should be at the top of that list.
Mhm.
Nothing's more important to us than our lives and our health and the health of our loved ones and family members. So for me, that's always been the number one and most important um, part of the Kayal Orthopedic Center. I think beyond anything else that's led to the successful organization, because for me, it's always been about the name and reputation of the organization and the brand that we market and deliver to our patients each and every day. And that's always centered around um, customer service and the experience. I call it the Kayal Orthopedic Center experience. And every employee at Kayal Orthopedic Center very clearly understands that every patient interaction is an opportunity to promote that brand and further the brand and support the brand and establish a name and reputation. So from the first time a patient makes a phone call to our office and that experience, to the reception at the front desk, to the medical assistant or x-ray tech that takes that patient into the room, to the physician assistant, the physician interacting with the patients, and then the out desk and the surgical coordinators and the physical therapy and chiropractic. And there's so many opportunities to interact with patients. And we just, you know, it's enforced from above, and it just trickles down that it's become part of the DNA of every employee, the culture or at our organization. And we solicit feedback on a daily basis as well to make sure that the patient's experience met their expectations, and then we also then promote and solicit reviews because we're proud of the services we deliver. And as far as patient experience is concerned, we've always respected their time to be as valuable as ours. There's little to no wait in the office. Patients are seen same day appointments whenever they call. They're given an opportunity to see us same day. Um, our our mantra has always been insist on excellence, insist on Kayal Orthopedic Center for all of your orthopedic needs. So patients come to us. It's a one-stop shop for all their orthopedic needs. It's a very convenient location for them, because when they come in for anything musculoskeletal, they don't have to go anywhere else. Whether they need orthopedics or rheumatology or pain management or imaging, chiropractic, physical therapy, acupuncture, massage, you name it. Uh, it's at our location. And what's nice is that we have so many different locations, and that also caters to customer service. Patients don't want to be driving that far to see who they want to see. So we have almost 20 different locations all over northern New Jersey and Rockland County, New York, just to accommodate for them. And that just also, dovetails into the service industry, where we can provide a local service for them and provide all those services to them as well. So every step of the way is important. Every step of patient interaction and patient care is critically important to every one of our employees. And it is without hesitation. I've always told all my employees it's a service industry for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And, no one bats 1,000, but we certainly try to. But when we don't, we also have a service recovery department to make sure that we reach out to that patient and find out what went wrong, and whatever went wrong, we make it right for that patient. And we essentially beg them for the opportunity to change the way they feel about us. Give us another opportunity. Nobody's perfect. We're so sorry. We're remorseful. We, always assume that the patients are always right. And we do whatever it takes to make it better for them, because we truly care about them. And they do appreciate those phone calls, and they do give us that opportunity to come back. And we earn their respect and their patronage because of that as well. Because, nobody's perfect. And sometimes doctors get behind or whatever happens. There could be a billing error or something like that. But, we let them know that we truly care about every single patient experience. And those phone calls go a long way in earning their patronage again.
Yeah. And again, for those of you listening, that is a great piece of advice. So if someone maybe didn't have a 5-star experience, find out why, which is, like you said, a simple phone call. Now, I have a question. I love that your employees are on board. It trickles down from the top. My question is, and I see this, I've seen this a lot I was just at a conference in Washington, D.C. for physical therapists in business. And one of the biggest topics this year was onboarding your employees, keeping employees happy, having that good culture. So how does the business onboard new employees so that everyone's on board with your vision and your mission and your customer experience and everything else that you offer?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big, formidable task to achieve.
Yes,
Again,
yes.
I am so blessed by my staff. I'm surrounded by incredible group of people. Right now we have about 350 employees at Kayal Orthopedic Center, and I must say the practice is on autopilot. We have an incredible administration team of directors, human resources, directors in every department, managers, supervisors. And, this is a practice that has developed over the last 25 years, and it's just on autopilot, from the hiring of the hiring of front desks, receptionists, to out desk patient care coordinators, to even physician assistants. Everybody trains themselves. It's a administration team that basically has this on autopilot, where they just meet with the new employees. They give them policy and procedure manuals. There's a training session that takes place over a few weeks, and it's just a turnkey operation. And it's really, I really don't have to do much anymore, because It's become the DNA of the practice of every employee. It's the modus operandi. It's the only way we know how to do business. And when employees get hired and for whatever reason the culture is not consistent with theirs, that employee just doesn't last very long, and so they weed themselves out, and it's just become just a beautiful environment to work in every day. It's really just an incredible culture at the Kayal Orthopedic Center. Couldn't be more
And
of our team.
yeah, so what I'm getting from that, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is that you have good systems in place to kind of help people as they onboard and then as they go through. Obviously things happen, crisis happens, life happens over since 1999, right? So, but having those good systems in place makes it a little bit easier for your employees. Do you do any like employee net promoter scores, or do you track kind of where your employees are at?
Yeah, my HR team does that regularly, and they solicit
Mhm.
feedback, and we just make sure that we keep our finger on the pulse in that regard. But the important thing is we just always want to make sure that our mission statement, our vision statement is truly authentic. What we're publishing on our website and what we're preaching is actually perceived by our employees and our public to be authentic and true. So we can't just preach this and say this and post this on social media and our website. This is what we believe in. This is, our culture. But the interpretation of that by our staff and our public being consistent, we just can't have that. So we need to make sure that our public, our patients know when they come to the Kayal Orthopedic Center and enjoy that Kayal Orthopedic Center experience, it's consistent with the brand that we've spent so many years trying to develop. And we have to ensure that the culture at Kayal Orthopedic Center amongst our employees as well is consistent with that which we're trying to communicate as well to our employees, and equality and fairness and dignity and all the ethical things that we try to communicate to our employees. It has to be the culture, it has to be the vibe. Otherwise, it's meaningless.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's just
You're
yeah.
you're in big trouble. And I'd also like to point out that what you just described, that's branding, right? Branding is not like your logo behind you or something that's stitched on everyone's scrubs. The branding is the culture and the vision and the mission and your values and everyone around it living that, whether it be your employees and your patients, right? That's the brand. I always think of branding as like it's like the feel,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
not just things thrown on the wall. It's the feel. It's how you feel about the company.
100%. And it can't be hypocritical, so
Hmm.
that's what we're proud of, because we really think that the culture is consistent amongst all stakeholders, not just the patients, but we treat everybody the same way. The patients, the employees, our vendors, the insurance companies. There are so many stakeholders in this organization, and we just want to make sure that all of our stakeholders feel the same way about our organization, because we're always interacting with people the same way. Our employees, our patients, our vendors, our insurance companies, our community, our marketing,
Hmm.
our branding. It's all got to be consistent. That's how you develop a strong name and reputation that people can believe in and trust.
Yep.
And that's what we're looking for.
Absolutely. And being in practice since 1999, to this is not an episode on the changes in healthcare from 1999 until now, because that would be a really, really long episode. Um, as we were talking a little bit before we went on air, just about the technology that's come into orthopedic surgery, has been night and day. but then changes within the healthcare system as well.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that over these years, you've had to reinvest in the practice. So, what does that look like for you?
I'm sorry, reinvest in the practice.
Yeah. Yeah. What does that reinvestment in your practice look like?
Well, for me, reinvesting in the practice has occurred over the last 25 years in so many different ways. Medicine, as you know, has changed tremendously with respect to even reimbursement. So, uh,
Yes.
fortunately, for the first 23 years of my career, I was an out-of-network orthopedic surgeon. And because of that, I was able to generate a tremendous amount of revenue for the practice being out of network because we were also very, very busy out of network. So at that point in time, year after year after year, I had the opportunity to, just profit or reinvest in the practice. So what I did year after year was reinvest in the practice. I saw early on that as a surgeon, I was often out of the office 3 days a week. Even from the beginning, I was a busy surgeon. So for 3 days a week, my office wasn't really generating any revenue. And so the first thing I did was invest in a bone density machine. I took some of those profits and purchased a bone density machine because for me, a bone density machine was going to allow my patients to get bone densities to check their bone quality while I was in surgery. And that was sort of like a healthcare provider for me, my bone density machine. And then the patients would have the bone densities. It would generate some revenue, but also provide a great service to the patients. I would assess their bone quality and see them back and follow up. And then from there, we ended up slowly adding more providers as a reinvestment. I would add more healthcare providers, whether it be physician assistants or orthopedic surgeons. Then the practice grew. I needed more office space. I would often open up a new office in a different catchment area. That was another reinvestment and really fit out that office and provide services, similar services in another catchment area. And then I realized as I got busier and busier and busier, I was referring a lot out of the practice because being an orthopedic surgeon, I didn't do everything. I didn't do podiatry. I didn't do
Mhm.
interventional pain management. I didn't do physical therapy, chiropractic, acupuncture, you name it, rheumatology. So when I realized that I was generating so many outgoing referrals, I reinvested in the practice again by hiring those specialists for my practice, whether it be a hand surgeon, a specific foot and ankle surgeon, spine surgeon, interventional pain management. So over the last 25 years, I not only would continuously reinvest in the practice by buying equipment like MRI imaging technology, CAT scan imaging technology, bone density machines, fluoroscopy machines, ultrasound
Mhm.
machines. I would also reinvest in service lines as well as healthcare providers. And by constantly reinvesting in the practice instead of taking those profits, the return on investment was tremendous. It allowed me to grow the practice tremendously, generate um, residual income essentially. So if I'm on vacation or if I'm away, there are other providers generating
Mhm.
revenue. I'm providing services to the patients by keeping everything in house, which the patients love. They love the one-stop shop for all their orthopedic needs. And it's just allowed me to just continue to grow and expand the practice organically, just from patients of my own. It wasn't even any new patients. This was existing business that I was otherwise referring out. So I would just encourage you, if you're especially in a field like mine, orthopedics, musculoskeletal care,
Mhm.
everyone has an orthopedic problem. I call my orthopedic practice my golden goose because it's really what I needed to protect uh, during these past 25 years, which afforded me the ability to expand uh, organically just from the orthopedic patients, because orthopedic patients would one day have a neck problem, another day have a shoulder problem, another
Oh,
day
yes.
hand problem, and sometimes need physical therapy, and sometimes need pain management, sometimes need MRIs and CAT scans and orthotics for podiatry. So, it's just a matter of looking at your own business and realizing what business potentially you have within, and not just being so close-minded and saying, have tunnel vision. I'm only a knee doctor, or I'm only there's so many orthopedic surgeons, for instance, I'll just use that as an example because that's my field. There's so many orthopedic surgeons that refuse to see, for instance, back pain. I'm not a back doctor. Go see somebody else. But
Hmm.
if you were to keep that business in-house and hire a back doctor instead of giving that patient away, you may lose that patient permanently, forever, because they may go to
Right.
the back doctor that actually has another knee doctor that they may decide to stick with for convenience. So it's just a matter of assessing your own business. What are you currently giving away and saying, no, I don't take care of? But those patients have needs. And if you just are willing to just take a little risk and invest in yourself, and return that investment, and just basically reinvest in your own practice as opposed to choosing not to, you may find yourself in a situation like mine that just grows exponentially, significantly, over the years.
And did you have any issues personally with kind of letting go of that control?
Well, yes.
Well,
So,
funny
so
you mentioned that.
yeah,
So,
it's in
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but in order to grow your business and you hire these doctors, they want to be specialists in different areas. 25 years ago, I did everything, hand,
Hmm.
everything,
Hmm.
foot and ankle. But medicine has evolved. It's much more specialized now. And when I hire these highly trained, skilled physicians, they want to be the guy for this or that. You mentioned earlier about a patient of yours that recently had a hip arthroscopy. Recently, over the past, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, I had to give up hip arthroscopy and shoulder replacements and revision, total hip and knee replacements, because I hired specialists that, in order to encourage them and convince them to join your practice, they want those referrals. And so we've over the years become a very specialized practice. I've become, for the most part, the knee guy and the sports guy and
Hmm.
spine guys and pain management guys, and which is really nice because we now have chiefs of service in every department. And it was hard to give it up in the beginning, but I know that part of my responsibility, um, at this stage in my career, is to build a succession plan as well. It can't just be all me. And so I had to put highly trained orthopedic surgeons in different positions as chiefs of service and help support them, because they're ultimately going to be the future of this practice. And so it was difficult in the beginning, but I'm busy enough being what I consider a general orthopedist, and I end up quarterbacking a lot out to my other junior doctors who have become the specialists in their areas. And I love that too, because it helps me support them, helps me build the succession plan, which is necessary. And I get to pick and choose still what I want to do. And look, it's all about doing what's in the best interest of our patients, for sure. So if another physician in my practice can do something better than me, I'll be the first to strongly refer that patient to one of our experts. I really I cherry pick each and every one of my physicians. My physicians are very skilled and trained, fellowship trained, some double fellowship trained, and I'm just very proud of the roster of physicians we have on our team.
Yeah. And I think that's such great advice that if you know someone else on your team is so much better at something, why wouldn't you refer? Why
Of
wouldn't
course.
you say, I think you should see this person? Because I'm sure a lot of people call and they want to see the doctor whose name's on the practice,
Right, right.
right?
Yeah,
But you can't do it
absolutely.
all.
right. But they trust me. That's one of the things that it's nice to have been around for so long to know these patients individually. That's one of the things they say, Dr. Kayal, if that doctor was good enough for you, that's certainly good enough for me. And sometimes they just need me to put my arm around them and make that endorsement, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, excellent advice. All right, as we start to kind of wrap things up here, is there anything else that, anything that we missed, anything that you want the viewers to know about kind of going from that solo practice to a, like you said, 315 employee practice?
Yeah, I think nowadays it's important to if you are a small group, you have to grow your practice. It's you have to have strength in numbers these days. It's very, very difficult to negotiate with the healthcare payers unless you're big, because reimbursements continue to decline, overhead continues to go up, and so one way or the other, most physicians are either joining hospital institutions as employed physicians or joining mega groups. And
Mhm.
the beautiful thing about our group, and that's sort of why I wrote the book, is because we're not one of those groups that sort of sold out to healthcare institutions to become employed physicians, where we lost all the things that we went into medicine for the in the first place. I wanted my autonomy. I wanted to be the quarterback of my patients. I still feel the same way in 2024. And so I did realize in over the last few years, and then it came to a head in 2021 when I realized with these 350 employees that overhead was just tremendous, and everyone wanted more money, and it was becoming more and more competitive coming out of COVID to compete with these healthcare organizations, hospitals that were paying these
Yep.
big, crazy salaries. It was hard to retain employees. Reimbursements were continuing to decline. I realized I needed a shark, but I realized I had this pretty unique organization. And one night I was watching Shark Tank with my wife, and we looked at each other. And I said, "I'm going to take my practice to Shark Tank," because I wanted to take this model, this one-stop shop for all your orthopedic needs across the country. And I didn't quite take it to Shark Tank, but I did take it to market. And I realized I needed a partner. I needed a joint venture partner that can negotiate with the payers and really just be a private investor in our organization. I was blessed to meet up with Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health, the largest
Mhm.
healthcare center and institution in the state of New Jersey, and they had that model where they just partnered with me. They are a joint venture. I still have the autonomy to run the practice in the old school traditional manner, and they just support me when I need their support, whether it's negotiating in-network rates with insurance companies. They're there for me when I need them, but they've been an incredible partner. And look, it's important, I think, that you do team up with an organization that can help you achieve the goals that you're looking for personally. And if those goals are the same as mine, which is traditional medicine, old school medicine, where
Mhm.
um, you don't have to sell out, you can still run your practice, have autonomy, still enjoy that cherished doctor-patient relationship without having suits all over you dictating to you how to do this and what to do and when to do it. I think the joint venture model, especially with Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health System in New Jersey, is an incredible model that I've been, so happy with over the past 3 years, and I just look forward to continuing to grow it. And I'm just very fortunate because uh, it's rare to find practices like ours these days that can survive in this milieu, and
Yeah.
I'm just fortunate to be part of this organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is not easy out there. So making smart decisions, listening to great people like yourself who are giving, I think, the listeners here some really great advice. If you're a healthcare provider, I hope you were taking notes. Now, can you tell people about your book, where people can find it, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so my book is entitled Mastering the Business of Medicine and the Doctor-Patient Relationship, from solo practice entrepreneur to orthopedic empire. And it was written specifically to help entrepreneurs in general, especially those that are interested in healthcare, to really get started, how to properly build a practice, brand your name, your reputation, set up a website, your logo, all the things that go along with it, and what types of attributes that you should be looking to possess and display in order to establish that brand with every patient encounter. So the book is available pretty much everywhere on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, and westbowpress.com, but it's readily available online and very soon to be released in audiobook as well. So I appreciate, Karen, the opportunity to speak with you tonight and to have this opportunity to speak to our colleagues in healthcare and in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And where can people find you in particular?
So yeah, the Kayal Orthopedic Center is located all over northern New Jersey and Rockland County, New York. Our website is Kayal Ortho, Kayal Ortho.com. And we're all over social media as well. You can find us if you just type in the keyword Kayal Ortho, Kayal Ortho, on Twitter, now X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
Perfect. And we will have links to everything. So, regardless of what platform you are listening on right now, if you go down into the show notes, one click will take you to everything, the book, the practice, and all the social media links. So, before we end, I'll ask you one question that I ask everyone who comes on the program, and that's, knowing where you are now in your life and career, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Well, I would say find out really early in your life what your passion in life is and what your purpose in life is, and make sure that your life has purpose. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a strong Christian, so I live to honor and serve the Lord in everything I do, in my conduct, in my character, in my conversation, and certainly in my workplace as well. As far as I'm concerned, I consider Kayal Orthopedic Center my mission field. It's not my practice, it's his. And so that's my purpose in life, to be a God-fearing individual who is a great husband, a great father, a great doctor, a great businessman, because it's all for his honor and glory. So for me, that's my purpose. I was blessed with the gift of helping people and being a good surgeon with a good set of hands, and I can be used in that regard. But the practice can also be used in many, many ways also to bring honor and glory to him with the revenue that we generate, and also with the lives that we help support in our practice. So just find out what your passion in life is, find out what your purpose in life is, and go for it. And in all that you do, work at it as if working for the Lord.
Well,
Not for
yes, that is great advice. Dr. Kayal, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Great advice all around. And like I said, I hope all you healthcare practitioners were taking notes. So thanks so much for coming on.
Karen, thank you so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you too. And everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great couple of days and stay healthy, wealthy, and smart.